Hello friends and welcome back for episode 49 of our Rogue Legacy Let's Play. We are here again for another challenge run, although this one's not going to be quite the way that some of the other ones were. I wanted to take a few minutes and acknowledge the fact that yes, I haven't really played this for a pretty long time. Actually, it's been about a month since the last episode of this Let's Play that went up. So I wanted to actually just do sort of a vanilla-ish run and just chat about stuff as we play, and I think that should hopefully be a good time. And we'll use that as maybe a way of kickstarting some momentum and also getting back into the game, because I just haven't really played it much. I've been so taken into doing like my Spelunky Let's Play and all my other stuff, and my hundreds of indie games and all that. I think I'm going to play as Hokage. We're just going to go big damage on this one. And yeah, we know that's all maxed out. So hopefully you guys are cool with that. I'm going to set up my armor. I know we've been doing challenge runs that have been a little bit, I don't know, they've been iffy sometimes. They haven't always been the most useful things. A lot of the times it's felt like we've spent extra time doing, like going out of our way to create challenges that honestly, like, I'm not good enough to necessarily be challenged properly by. Like, they don't really provide a challenge, they just beat me down. So I think this is probably a better way to go. We'll just, we'll have some fun, we'll hang out for a minute, and we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to keep adding some health here. We're not going to worry about gold find, obviously, because that is pretty much the last thing I'm concerned about. It's really not going to make any difference to me. Do I want health or do I want armor? I guess we'll do armor. What was my set before was like Slayer, right? But that's not good here because I'm playing Hokage, so no crits are going to happen. Right, I just do extra damage. Actually, it's sad to say, but I already have to remember what the classes do specifically. Vampirism, Siphon, Air Jump. I got to see what my runes are because I actually haven't checked in a little while. We'll set things to Royal for the time being. That's 3 Flight. Okay, so that might end up being the right build for me, but let's see. So I've got Flight, and then for runes, oh, I could have just looked in the bottom corner anyway. We've got a Grace rune, we've got a Balance rune, we've got a Balance rune, and 2 Mana runes, Siphon runes, I mean. What else do I want then? Just do more balance runes, or I think that's probably fine. We don't really need to worry too much. And I've got the Sword Wall as a magic ability, so we're just going to run into the castle and just see if we can clear out the whole thing. That'll be our challenge for the day. Just, do our best, see if we can survive in one run, see how that goes. And yes, I know I can get right to the end boss if I want to, but I'm still choosing not to do that. And we'll get back into the swing of things, because it is sort of a unique thing for me. Playing this game, it's required a certain different type of brain space that I haven't really quite employed with other LPs in the same way. It is a lot dexterity-based, like there's a lot of time spent just being careful in a way. Like, you can't really be meticulous and slow in this game the way you can in Spelunky. You rush around a lot more, and it doesn't really matter that you rush around a lot as long as you rush around without complete reckless abandon, but you gotta find you straddle the line in between both, because you don't want to take forever either. I'm kind of going around in circles here. Anyway, what did I want to talk about today for our thing? Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention was the way that LPs work, in a way, because I wanted to kind of mention that since I started the Spelunky Let's Play, the viewership on that particular series has definitely not been as strong as the Rogue Legacy one has. And I'm not saying that to try and be negative, it's just sort of a matter of fact the way it is. But I think that I learned a lot about Let's Playing from doing the Rogue Legacy series. And coming from, and you gotta remember, I'm not primarily a Let's Play channel the way that a lot of my friends are on YouTube. And I don't have any problem with that, like, I'm fine with it. I'm pretty much just happy doing what I'm doing. But I like doing Let's Plays now. I just don't want them to be the only thing that happens on my channel. So, I take whatever opportunities I can to learn from mistakes and all that, and I think one of the big things that I've learned is, about momentum as it pertains to a specific type of game. Now, I think a lot of the reason that a lot of people like to hang out with Rogue Legacy was, well, I mean, I was pretty weird with it. Like, I didn't really do a lot of amazing good play or anything, but I definitely talked about some interesting subjects, at least I would say. I think I did. I think that's probably been the consensus among the commenters anyway. And I generally just had a really fun time playing it, so I think that usually carries through with Let's Plays. And maybe some of this is useful information for other people doing a Let's Play channel. I don't know, I just figured it might be fun to talk about it in general. But, I've learned a lot from how to approach things. I've learned that momentum is extremely important. I've learned that being consistent is extremely important. I'm really curious, honestly, what kind of viewership is going to show up now that I'm putting an episode of this back up after it's been about a month without that. Because I have to say, like, the people that have come out for Spelunky, yeah, it's been a few select people that have enjoyed it and everything, but I just don't feel like there was as much hype or as much momentum going as there was with this series. And coming back to it now, I'm sure it's not going to be the same, and that's fine. I'm not saying, like, I'm upset about it or anything. It's just, it's curious, and I'm learning, and I'm proceeding to go in my own direction with that. I do want to continually bring in new series occasionally. I just want to make sure that when I do that, it's at the right moment, and it's surprisingly confusing sometimes, the degree with which you have to be careful when you make these types of decisions, because it's really important to not overwhelm yourself either. And if you try to start too many things at the same time, you're going to end up having all of them fail, which is the last thing I want. And then the one consistent thing that I'm never going to compromise on is doing the daily indie impressions videos. So however things fall, as long as I can still do those, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to be too worried about it, but I never want to, like, just have really just that go up anymore, because for a while I was just doing only indie impressions videos with nothing else. But then when you think about it, as long as that's a constant, I'm always going to be doing another video, right? So it's going to be 2 videos of something. One of those 2 videos is going to be indie impressions. So if I'm running a daily series on something like Rogue Legacy, it means that other slot is now all of a sudden taken up, and it means that I'm going to be making 2 daily videos, which is fine. I'm totally good with that. But it also means that diversity-wise, there's not going to be really a lot of room for that, for changing things up that way. So, I mean, it's led to me oftentimes just doing 3 videos a day, which is fine too, and I don't actually think that that's necessarily a bad thing. But then you start to run into the territory of, like, am I making so many videos that people are going to start to be upset about it? Like, I don't want to spam people's, YouTube feeds either. I got to find a nice way to be somewhere in the middle there. And so it becomes a little difficult if you have a long-running series, like I believe Rogue Legacy kind of was that. 50 episodes-ish it's longer than average for me anyway. Although I'm sure, many of my friends have many 100-episode series. I don't really have that. It's really just Indie Impressions is my longest-running one, and that's about it. Our Dark Souls series, that was pretty long as well, but this is really for a solo series, the longest I've really done, aside from Indie Impressions. So, wow. Oh, that was a big jump I just had there. So that means if I'm going to do a long-running series, I have to try and put that somewhere into perspective. Like, am I going to want to be hooked in with that one game for a very long amount of time? Maybe, maybe not. And I'm not saying that Rogue Legacy got boring, because it didn't, honestly. I really didn't get bored by it. But I did run out of things to do in it in a more formal sense. And I reconciled that by wanting to do challenge runs, but as I found out, challenge runs not really the most effective use of my time, I think, in playing Rogue Legacy. I think, if anything, maybe just, like, starting the game over might have been more useful. And I'm not saying that I'm still not going to do them, because I probably am. But it's sort of like I have a little bit of trepidation with how I proceed here. So if I were to run, daily Rogue Legacy again, and then I also want to run Spelunky almost daily, or basically I did want to run it daily, but honestly Spelunky is a little harder to produce constant content for it, because honestly that game's a bit of a roller coaster ride. Have you ever played it? Like, emotionally it leaves you a little bit feeling drained by the end of an episode of it. I usually can only record 1 episode at a time, whereas Rogue Legacy, it's a little bit more of a lighthearted affair, so I tend to be able to do several episodes at a time, sometimes 2 or 3. It was usually in my recording sessions, would be about 3 episodes that I would do. And then it would be set for a little while, so it would free me up to do other stuff. So it's mostly a conversation about my own time management at this point. But it is still a curious thing, and I am curious, like, on your end, what do you get out of that? And we have died as the Hokage. That was unfortunate. 9 minutes in by a Worgen Flargen. Alright, let's try again. I think we can do better. Let's try Paladin this time. And I probably don't need to change too much up about my armor. Well, I'll change a little bit up, actually. I want to change to crit gear, I guess, because I think Paladin makes a little bit more sense to do that with. It's nice I don't have to worry about, like, weight limits or anything. They just kind of go. Oh, what about my sword? Did I also want to change that? I think the Slayer sword, right? Just go all Slayer. I think it's pretty much the best way to go. Make it rain blood. Yeah, and, regen runes, is that what I want? I guess that's probably the best thing to do. I could do retaliation runes as well, but I think that's probably safer. Why don't I just do vampirism, because spike balls, am I going to really use all that many spike balls? Probably not. Let's just do... We'll do 3 and 1. That way we get a tiny little bit of MP back. Anyway, where was I talking? I was talking about, yeah, there's nothing to spend my gold on either, so now I just give it all back to him every time. So the time management element, when it comes to doing this stuff, it's an interesting thing. You know, what I try to do is keep a little bit of a backlog, well, at least as often as I can, which means, you know, daily recording. You know, there are no stopping points, there are no real days off unless I get such a big backlog of recordings that it's just like, oh, well, I don't feel like doing anything today, so I'll just, you know, not bother. But that time that I spent not bothering, it's more time I could have spent using, you know, that time to try and make some other series or start some other project. And, you know, as long as I'm in a position financially where I'm sort of strapped for cash, honestly, the guilt of not doing that becomes a little bit overpowering at times. So the impetus is always there to try and start more, and then I just worry about burning out. So that's always a factor, and thankfully things have been pretty good. You know, I honestly love what I'm doing, so that is a huge factor in it. Like, I don't think I'm going to get bored of just playing tons and tons of indie games ever, because I've been able to do it, like, for 500 days in a row now. So, you know, if I could do it for that long, I'm pretty sure I found the thing I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't think a lot of people could claim to do too many things 500 days in a row other than, like, eating and sleeping and be happy about it. And, you know, not really having days off isn't even a thing that really bothers me. Because, like I said, I just enjoy doing what I'm doing. So, but as far as Let's Plays on my channel, it's always been this interesting relationship I've had with it. You know, I've always wanted to do more, but I don't want to get myself positioned in a place where, like, people just expect me to always play a certain game, or I get bored of that game, but then I feel compelled to continue playing it. Like, I always wanted to just sort of run this idea that, like, I would do maybe shorter series, and maybe have more numerous ones, but I find that really there's only so many games that I really have enough passion for to play continuously over and over and over again. And a lot of the time they happen to be, you know, roguelike style games, because really the diversity in gameplay from one time to the next, it's kind of really important to me to be that interested in it. You know, certain games are just huge, and a lot of the time I find those types of games to be pretty intimidating, like, you know, something like Skyrim, for example. Also, you know, over Let's Played, in my opinion, pretty oversaturated, and I probably wouldn't find much of an audience doing that. And, you know, as much as I love the game, and I do enjoy it, I don't know if I would have enough passion to play it that long and really get into all the nitty-gritty of it. Because I'm not usually one to play that competitively in whatever games I happen to get into. I don't usually play in a way that is to exercise, like, the most knowledge of someone on YouTube. As much as I'm really doing, in general, pretty analytical content most of the time, I don't find that it lends to my personality to really obsess over one game. And not that there's anything wrong with that for people who can do that, I just don't find that that's my forte, you know? So you gotta play to your strengths, and I think more than anything, if you're playing a game for a Let's Play, you really want it to be a game that you enjoy every single time you play it. Because every time you don't enjoy it, it's going to show, and it's going to come across in the way you speak and the topics you choose to broach. So I think for the most part, Rogue Legacy is one of those games that I don't really feel a lot of pressure to feel like that I have to force it ever. Like, whenever I play that game, it's like, hey, this is fun. I'm just having a good time. And what did I get? MP increased. And really, the only thing that would really make the game better at this point is just more. Just, like, give me more content of it, and I would just keep on playing it. The setup for it right now, the fact that it sort of plays like Symphony of the Night, I mean, yeah, it's cool. Everything ends, though, unfortunately. So I have to find a way around that, or not. And when you do the not part, that's when you know, wrap up a series. And I haven't wanted to do that, because I still feel like there could be more to do in this game. It just might require a really thoughtful reimagining of how to frame that. And even if maybe that ends up being like, let's meet up once a week and we'll have like a chat and play Rogue Legacy at the same time, that could be fun. Or, you know, maybe I just need the right challenge runs to happen. Because unlike Spelunky, like, this game, it's not quite as nuanced. You know, there is plenty to see and do in it, yes, and I understand, like, I'm still terrible at, like, using my class commands properly, and I'm aware that that's how that works. But unlike Spelunky, like, there's so many things you have to learn, and there's so many little, like, progression elements that you have to master, to really get better at the game and to be able to display proficiency on that same level. This is more about just like run around, hit stuff, which, yeah, there's more to it than that, but at the core of it, though, there's kind of not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to put it down or anything. I don't mean to be, rude toward the game or anything, and don't get me wrong, I love the game. It's just like there is not as much depth to this as there is to Spelunky. Which in some ways is actually really good because it frees my mind up to be able to be, commentating in whatever direction I feel like commentating in, unlike Spelunky, where I pretty much have to concentrate for the majority of the time I'm playing. Like, if I let my mind wander the same way I do in this, nobody's going to have a good time there. It's very tempting to be very frustrated at people when they play Spelunky poorly, just because there are so many elements that are experiential, where if you saw and you were in the shoes of the person playing, you might make a different decision that would result in a drastically different game. In this case, it's kind of like dodge the stuff, don't get hit, smack stuff back, occasionally use your spells. These are the keys to success. It's a different world. So, I don't know, what does that mean for my channel and how I'm going to approach doing Let's Plays in the future? Well, to be honest, it doesn't really mean a whole lot, because I still sort of want to keep going at things the way I have been. My desire is still to just have a few series, maybe cycle back and forth between them, but I wonder, though, if that's maybe not the best option as far as, making people interested in what I'm doing on a daily basis, because that is really, one of the goals, obviously. If the channel does continue to grow, I want people to enjoy what I'm doing and not get too, pinballed around between too many different series, get fragmented and split up and all that stuff. And I am also aware of the fact that Spelunky has a huge, huge following in the YouTube community, definitely bigger than the Rogue Legacy following, and it's resulted in probably a pretty good degree of oversaturation, even just amongst my circle of friends, and you know who I mean. Hopefully, anyway. But yeah, I mean, everybody I know plays Spelunky right now, and not everybody I know stayed playing Rogue Legacy for more than, 10 or 15 episodes into their own series, if they even did a series. Not everybody did. Whereas Spelunky, I feel like everybody did. So I don't really let that stuff dictate what I do. Like, it doesn't bother me when a game is necessarily super oversaturated if it's a game that I love playing. But it does factor in a little bit, because obviously I'm not going to just be like, along for the ride for every single game. That's not really how I work. I play games because I enjoy them. I play them because I'm passionate about them. Occasionally I play them because I'm very good at them, but not very often. And if you've watched my channel, you'll know that that is the truth. But I certainly do, get pretty obsessed with certain games, and this is one of them. So, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, where do I go with the idea of having multiple series running at the same time? Because it seems to me like the best way to do a series, if you're going to do a series, is to go all in on it, right? Just spend every day working on some element of that game and trying to make progression happen. But at the same time, like I said, it's a real big factor that I don't want to get too, jaded to any particular game or get burned out to it and then, like, end up canceling a series because I just wasn't interested in it anymore because I played it too much. So, how do I do that? I can't have 3 daily series all going up at the same time and then still expect people to want to watch all of it, because that's overkill. But I also can't necessarily just do one for too long, because lots of games come out and they're always, a lot of fun. So it's still a thing I'm trying to figure out, and maybe you guys can help me figure this out in the comments. Look at that, I'm super 2D, man. HP increase +5. So, yeah, it's a thing that I've been wondering about a lot, and I think it had a lot to do with why I chose to really spend more time working on Spelunky than I have been playing Rogue Legacy. And it's not anything to do with me not enjoying the game anymore. It's just, like, how much benefit would you get out of watching these episodes? But if I can turn it into, like, a sort of a vlog type of thing, then I'm not necessarily opposed to doing that. Although, maybe would it be better to just do a vlog then? I don't know. Is there enough to watching me talk and play this game at the same time, or watching me play the game and talk at the same time? I have this backwards. That it would really make this interesting? That's something I need to hear from you guys. And it also depends, like, how many people are even interested in watching me play Rogue Legacy at all. It seemed like for a while quite a few people were, and maybe I was on the road to being, like, the Rogue Legacy guy. I don't know. Is that even a thing? There's usually a guy for whatever game is out there. And there are definitely worse games to be the guy for than this. So, I don't know. It's all kind of confusing to me, and it's stuff that I'm still working with. like I said, I've never been a Let's Play channel. I've been an impressions channel, if anything, and occasionally, like, weird machinima video channel. Although, I don't know, what really defines the Rockley Smile channel? I would have to say it has to be indie impressions, right? I mean, that is the main thing that I do. It's always been the daily thing, at least ever since the first couple things. And that is where I started, by the way. I started out doing Let's Plays. The very first thing I did when I first started YouTube was, you know, playing Meat Boy, and, well, showcasing the levels that I had made. And then I did a Let's Play on Terraria and Eternal Daughter. And actually also Amnesia, as sad as it is to say, but I took that down because that was not interesting or well-produced in any form or fashion, so I didn't think I needed to leave that around. I feel like I need more Grace Runes, guys. What do you think? Another thing that I know I could do if I wanted to get more out of the series is to just go ahead and try and beat more, you know, just... Oh, man. Try and play more of the... Oh, he's gonna kill me! He killed me. Deathify! Hooray, I came back. But if I could just beat more New Game Plus scenarios, then I guess that would keep me in for a bit longer. Why is it Deathify gives me so little health every single time? Really could have used more than that. Yeah, so, I don't know. It's going to be interesting how I try to move forward in the Let's Play version of my channel, or the Let's Play angle on my channel. It's a thing I like, and it's a thing I really want to do, but it's a thing that I have to approach carefully, because it's not necessarily my top priority, but it could be. You know, if things really took off in that direction, which I wouldn't expect them to be, and I don't necessarily 100% want them to do that, but I really enjoy playing whatever random indie games are going on in my world at the time. Oh, this thing is going to destroy me. Why is it so hard all of a sudden? I don't remember this being quite this difficult. Have all the spike balls. Enjoy. Alright, cool. So, yeah, I'm eliciting responses from you guys. I'm curious to know what you're gonna say. Oh, we've got Helios Blessing. That's cool. I mean, I have a good idea of what you're gonna say, and it's probably just say, well, do whatever you want, it's your channel, and that's totally fine, and I will do that. But it's my channel, and in the same way, like, I kind of feel like I do also want to take your feedback into consideration, because sometimes it's kind of invaluable. Like, I only have my perspective to see things from, which is why I even, you know, would bother. But, you know, it's an experience for all of us. We're all in this somewhat together. You know, you enjoy watching stuff, hopefully. I enjoy making stuff. And the symbiosis that we've worked out is where things shine. So, not that I will necessarily do whatever people ask me to do, but, you know, occasionally I will. Alright, let's go... So weird Maya, isn't it? There's a whole lot of dead ends, so I guess we'll go back down. I'm probably about to die on my next hit here, so keep that in mind. Down we go. It's rare for me, too, that I just talk, like, only about whatever's going on in my head and not at all about the game, so it's probably cost me a little bit in terms of gameplay on this particular episode. Hopefully nobody minds too much. This has been sort of like a recap and what's up with the series video. I figured, you know, better to do that on episode 49 than episode 50, since that's sort of a milestone episode. And then we can actually celebrate some, you know, positive stuff on that one. And I am also just curious to know if anybody's going to keep watching. You know, when you take a break from anything for a month, the demand, obviously, is going to move on to other things, which is totally fine. Like I said, I'm not upset or expecting anything, or wow, that was really dumb. I actually stopped in the air. Wow, another death defy. Right, because of the Helios Blessing, I think, right? That's that one. Game really wants to keep me going. Okay, let's bounce off of that. More rockets. If only there were more things to buy, man. That's the thing that would keep me coming back to this game indefinitely, if there were more stats. Just take off the level cap. You know, I need the, some sort of spider mod for Rogue Legacy that I could use to, like, make there be no ceiling to stuff, so I could just keep playing this forever. Maybe there even is such a thing. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to go find spider mod for Rogue Legacy, if such a thing exists, and just continue on from there. I'm having a hard time believing that I'm dying this easily. It seems like a rare thing that I would actually lose that much health that quickly, but I guess it's happening. Alright, well, plenty of gold. And, wow, it's just throwing turkey legs at me like crazy all of a sudden. I feel like another question I just wanted to ask, since you guys are here and hopefully stuck around for this part of the episode, or this much of the episode, would you prefer longer running series on things, or would you prefer a bunch of shorter series? Because I think it's probably more practical to do a bunch of shorter series, but I definitely enjoy spending more time and going in depth on a game that I particularly like. And it's probably just going to come down to, like, which games does that even make sense for, and can I make a list of games that I would necessarily even Let's Play? Because there's not that many that I really want to spend that much time with. I usually really am in just sort of the idea of just playing the first, hour of a game a lot of the time, and not that that's always the case, but just I guess I've been habitually doing that for Indie Impressions so long now that it's just sort of sunk in as like a methodology for how I look at things. What just happened to that barrel? Did it just like sink into the ground? That was a little strange. Maybe I hit it and didn't notice. But yeah, probably you guys have done this as well, right? Where you start a game, you hang out with it for a little while. It's not that it got boring or anything, you just get distracted by something else, and then before you know it, a month has gone by. I mean, that's almost exactly what happened here. Spelunky was a thing that I really wanted to have a series on a long time ago, and I actually tried to have a series on it on the Xbox when it was on, exclusively on Xbox Live Arcade. And then my PVR broke, so I had to just stop doing that right then. And it made me sad because I really liked playing it, and I wanted to spend more time and go a bit more in depth. Also because I felt like I had some potential to be fairly decent at the game. And I'm not sure if that fruit has bore out at this point, but, I've given it a try anyway. And, I'm about 20 episodes in now on that series, which is not 50 by any means, but I don't know if I want to go 50 on that series. Maybe 30 might be more appropriate, and then I'll have to move on to something else. Or I could just do the daily challenge route. So, this, as much as we're playing Rogue Legacy here, this is an episode about, like, the state of all non-Indie Impressions videos on my channel, so feel free to let me know. I am very curious to hear your feedback in any regard, and again, I know you'll probably just say, like, do what you think is right, and I will, so don't worry. Even if nobody responds or says a single word, I'm not gonna, have a hard time coming up with the future of how I want to handle things. I just thought it would be cool to open this up and talk about it for a minute. If anything, just to let you see, like, behind the curtain for a minute about some of my thought process of what I do when I'm trying to come up with these things. And starting a new series, by the way, not always the easiest thing. And it doesn't just happen. Like, there are a bunch of things that happen behind the scenes that make me decide, like, this is a good game versus this one is not. And a lot of it is to do with the longevity, the amount of enjoyment I get out of the thing, the amount of depth I have, the amount that I understand the game, and the likelihood of me not just making an ass out of myself for playing it. Those are all factors. And a lot of times, it does also come down to, like, oh, hey, I have some experience in this game, I feel pretty comfortable with it, and it is something that is positioned right for my channel. Like, it doesn't feel like it would be too strange for it to be something that people that watch my other videos would enjoy watching me play. For example, a thing that I've really wanted to do for ages, and I don't know what's been stopping me, and probably just lack of time, but I wanted to do a Let's Play on It'll Do. I mean, the game is like a couple of hours long, maybe 3-4 hours long, so that is not beyond the realm of possibility. It's just, I haven't done it yet, so, let me know. Would you like to see me play through that game? Maybe I will. But that's also going to factor in with, what's going on with Spelunky. I need to make sure I don't just... Oh, okay, gotta concentrate here. A little bit, anyway. There we go. Yeah, I gotta make sure that when I start that series, if I start that series, that I'm not gonna do it to the exclusion of what's going on the other one, because I want to sort of bring that one to a natural conclusion point if possible. The Rogue Legacy one, I wasn't too worried, like, even if I just stopped at episode 48, which, I wasn't exactly planning on doing, but if it happened, I wouldn't have been super upset about it, because I feel like we covered the majority of the ground that I really wanted to cover for a series on this one anyway. But yeah, if there's more, if we can come up with a way to get more out of it, I have no problem staying with it. It's just not going to be, super daily anymore. It's not going to be constant. It's just not really practical. I mean, if it was practical, the only way I'd be able to do it is to make sure that I always had a backlog at all times, which I'm not sure that is practical. So yeah, for what it's worth, I think you get the point now. As far as other types of videos, though, there's still plenty of other things I do. I've been doing these on and off collaborations. I often have been doing, well, you probably know if you've been watching my stuff for a good degree or a good amount of time now. I've been doing the twice-a-week Magic series with Rob, and whoever else wants to join us for, amongst my YouTube friends, they're all welcomed in, and then that's another, minor time commitment. I don't really consider it time commitment because it's just fun, but sometimes it can be a little frustrating because it's usually pretty hard to, nail down YouTubers for any particular time of doing a thing. And me and Rob don't really have like a set schedule when we record on, so it's basically just like whenever people are around, and oftentimes it ends up being, oh, Hermes boots. It ends up just being like the night before the thing needs to go up, or, something like that, close enough anyway. And, that can be a source of minor stress, just because I don't want to miss a date. I'm one of those people that's pretty meticulous when it comes to doing things a certain way. I have my style of presence. I'm one of those people that, like, doesn't like to ever be late to things, if that's possible. Alright, I don't have to worry about spikes now. That's handy. But yeah, I like to have that same sort of reasonably professional demeanor when it comes to my videos as well, if I can handle it anyway. And I think I have done an okay job of that for all this time. And hopefully it shows in the professionality that I try to have in, the series that I try to be professional in. It's pretty important to me that it's not just like, it's all about like, hey, I did a bunch of streams and I'm just gonna like splice up a bunch of cuts from it and put it up there. And that's totally fine. For people who do that, to each his own, that's fine. I'm not like upset about it or anything, but that's not my style. I prefer to do, pretty serious like one-on-one time with you guys. I want it to be about, actually talking to you directly and not just sort of like incidentally happen to be like, oh, you happen to watch while this thing happened. No, I want it to be one-on-one time. And when I do collaborations and stuff, when I have other people on for episodes of things, I am sort of cognizant of the fact that I'm not necessarily always doing that. And I don't think it's a big deal as long as I do it once in a while, but I just don't want the majority or the bulk of my content to be about just like me playing a game and there might be people watching, there might not be. No, I want you to definitely be engaged in what I'm doing. So, I take care, and hopefully it shows. Oh, there is a chest in here. Strength increase is always nice. And when I say it should hopefully always show, it's, I'm more speaking to the fact that, like, that I'm treating you, the way you want to be treated, baby. No, I mean, like, that I'm paying attention to you, I'm being more aware of what's going on. This is a dialogue, even though it's a monologue, is kind of what I mean. Not necessarily that my gameplay is going to be outstanding, because I do my best there, but I can't really make any promises. I do, as well as I can. Oh, Skittering Wolf. Yep, he's back. And you might also wonder, like, what's up with the fact that I haven't done any Isaac episodes in a long time, because that was a thing I wanted to do, where I did a sort of a recurring series on playing Isaac with whoever else could join me on stream, and then I would take the VODs from that and put them on YouTube. But I would treat it like it was just a proper Let's Play. I just happened to be doing it live, so I have the chat in my ear, well, I say that like it's a bad thing. The chat is helping me along and honestly doing a lot better at Isaac than I am. And then maybe a guest, if a guest is along for the ride. And really that was just about, like, hey, I just haven't really spent enough time committed to that concept. And there's no reason I still can't do that in the future as well. It's sort of the same thing that happened with Rogue Legacy. When you're doing content absolutely daily, like with zero exceptions, it's really easy for a ton of time to go by and you don't even notice it. It's sort of like if you've ever had, like, a really rough, like, entire month at work or something. Like, you just, every time you go into your job, it's like, oh god, it's stress, it's shitty, I just want to go home and not think about this anymore. And I'm not, okay, I totally just framed that wrong, because I'm not comparing my job to that. What I'm comparing it to is the way that you kind of focus on that and just sort of zone out the rest of the world. When I do that with a certain game, like, I really start to give it careful time and consideration, a lot of times time will go by like that for me. And it's not a bad thing at all. Honestly, it's really not. I think it's probably better because it lets me focus on it. But just so you know, it's like that is a thing. Like, I will sort of get tunnel vision to other things while that happens. And while I've been playing Spelunky, yeah, I've been doing that hardcore. So hopefully, I'll reach a point when maybe Spelunky isn't so appealing anymore, or maybe it just isn't worth doing for one reason or another, and, I'll move on to something else. Defeat all enemies with spike balls. I cannot do this. No matter how many spike balls I want to shoot at them, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I think one of the coolest things about Rogue Legacy in particular, as far as it went as a series, was I just really enjoyed how I could split my consciousness and just sort of talk. You know, it's not easy to do that in a lot of games, and it's not always necessarily easy to do it in this game either, but I seem to have the best luck at it out of all the games that I've Let's Played, I think. I certainly can't do it like in Super Meat Boy or anything, and I certainly can't do it in Isaac. I've always been pretty amazed by the way Ryan does that when he does his Isaac commentaries. Actually, even Spelunky too. He's pretty just comfortable with talking over whatever. It's not always an easy thing, guys. If you haven't tried it, it's worth maybe just giving it a shot one time, even if you have no plans on becoming like a Let's Player or doing videos on a regular basis. You should just see what it's like doing a running stream of consciousness over a video of some kind. And maybe it's easy for some people, maybe it's not so easy for other people. For me, I feel like it's always been sort of in the middle. You know, I think I'm able to do it okay. I don't think I'm particularly spectacular at it or anything, but, you know, I've gotten better at it. And I don't feel particularly ashamed by myself in the way I approach it anymore, which at the start, I kind of was a little bit. Honestly, that Amnesia Let's Play, like I mentioned earlier, that was a kind of a travesty. I'm not too proud of that one, so that's why I took it down. But that's the only one I'm going to do that with. As far as I know, the Terraria Let's Play and the Eternal Daughter Let's Play, those are going to be up indefinitely. Unless YouTube decides to start charging by how many videos you keep up or something, which they better not do, otherwise I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Actually, as interesting side note, Twitch just recently decided to make archiving your videos opt-in for people who are just still relatively new to the service, because they found out they've been growing at such a ridiculously exponential rate. It's actually costing them more in server fees and storage fees than it is making them back by keeping that stuff up. So that worries me a little bit, because I wonder if at a certain point they're going to be like, hey guys, we can't like afford to keep letting you just store everything like the way YouTube does it. The only reason that YouTube does it like that is because they're freaking Google, man. They have it all. They have all of the memory that you could have. If anyone's going to have it, they have it. They probably have, like, holographic storage on, you know, diamond discs on Mars. That's not a thing, but, like, they could if they wanted, because they're Google. Hey, got another strength increase. And in case you all of a sudden notice there's, like, some white noise or anything in the background, it's just, it started raining again. For some reason, whenever I play Rogue Legacy, it starts torrentially pouring rain. It's a strange coincidence, but it seems like it's happened probably more times than it hasn't happened in the last 20 episodes of this anyway. And I usually mention it too, so probably if you go back and look, you could probably like count up all the instances that it's rained while I've been doing commentary on this game. Pretty weird. So, how are we doing in the actual game that we're playing? Well, we're at 154,000 gold, which used to be absolutely phenomenal. Now, I don't know. It really doesn't matter, does it? It's really just points at this point. So, how are we doing for castle progression? I think we're like most of the way through. We've cleared out the Maya entirely. I believe we've cleared out the forest entirely. This just leaves us with the Realm of Darkness, and if I beat the Realm of Darkness, what am I going to do after that? I guess I'll just, like, try and beat the game again. I bet I could, too. I don't think it would be too impossible. Well, I'm out of practice, to be honest, so maybe I won't, but the odds of me beating it are probably, like, 50-50 if I were to try at this point. You're going to shower gold on my head? No, not this time. That one just had no gold in it, evidently. Alright, so let's go down again. The Realm of Darkness is the hardest world, so, I mean, if anything's going to smack me down, it's probably going to be that. And get our chicken leg and our potion. Not that I needed the potion. Oh, that guy's got a big old fireball. I did notice, by the way, the challenge runs that you guys had proposed in the last episode. I'm just choosing to recklessly disregard them, so my apologies on that. Hopefully you're not too offended. But one of them, one of the two top-rated ones was, like, do a dragon run and, like, retaliation runes or, like, all gold runes or something. I've done the dragon run a couple of times. It hasn't been fun, to be honest with you. It just really hasn't been my favorite one at all. I did still want to mess around with retaliation runes. I could probably do something with that. And maybe that's what we'll do in the future. And don't let the fact that I've asked, like, a million questions about, like, feedback to do with Let's Plays and stuff deter you. Don't let that deter you from putting challenge run possibilities in the comments. I'm still eager to hear what you have to say on that. Oh, that skeleton has all the bones. I should really have not even engaged anything in this room. I should just let the spike balls do all the work. Because really, what am I getting out of this if I don't do that? Well, I'm getting a bunch of gold, one way or the other. More enemies? Nope. I think we're good. Oh, hello. Thought I had gotten everybody. So we've got all these dudes in every direction. Oh, more. Wow, you guys are nimble if you dodged through all of those spike balls. So I guess we'll head to the right. I don't know, really doesn't matter where I head. And if I lose, no big deal. Kinda wasn't really planning on winning the game right now anyway. But pretty good chance that the Darkness world will take me out. It's a tough place to live. Okay, Fireball Man. You want to get in line? There you go. Oh, dropped another chicken leg for me. Oh, look who it is. Well, this would be just silly if I didn't take this, because the odds of tripling what I paid, yeah, let's do that. Beginning, middle, or end? What do you say? This is beginning, this is middle, this is end. I'm gonna go end. Let's tell a story about the end. I got lucky. Oh man, what is it gonna be? Ready? Here we go. Whipped cream pouring like waterfalls. I just want to let all the diamonds shoot out. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at them all. They're still coming. It's a diamond fountain. It's the most beautiful diamond fountain I've ever seen in my life. They're still coming. They're going to probably reach the maximum amount of sprites that are available, and then it's going to start to delete the ones behind. Well, if I see the bags of money disappear, it's still happening. Oh my god. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Yep, so, yeah, there's some money. 442,000. That's ridiculous. So that's the new record, right? I haven't gotten even close to that before. I don't even remember anymore, but I'm pretty sure I don't think I've beaten that number before. Alright, I gotta remember to get this guy whittled like 3/4 the way down, and then... Oh, I could just spike ball the other dude, because he can't do anything to me from there. The end. Das Ende. What do we have in the chest today? Oh, more money. Am I gonna break 500,000 on this run? Well, now all of a sudden it looks like I have a goal. A gold. I do have a gold. I have many 100,000 of those. Really need to take something with me that can hit through walls, don't I? I think I would have learned by now. Yep, more of these things should do just fine. If you guys can't handle taking out these couple of enemies, then you are worthless to me. What was he doing? He was just being 2D sideways for a while? I kind of don't think I'm really going to get to 500,000. That's a pretty well off from where we are, actually. Probably going to run out of gold that's even possible to get before we reach that point. Hey, another chicken leg. I'll take it. Also, I'm getting MP back so fast that it would be a little dumb of me not to continuously be using these. Whatever. Let's take that shot. Man, this guy's tough. Just don't really feel like being particularly nuanced in my Rogue Legacy play, evidently. I just want to smack stuff today. I guess that's been a pretty common occurrence, though, throughout the entire series, hasn't it? Always wanted to do some smacking of stuff. Maybe we should do a game like Torchlight or something, where I can just talk forever, and there's just, like, nothing that you really have to do. Now, that seems contrary to the point, too. I mean, you guys probably, hopefully, liked some of the specific gameplay to Rogue Legacy, right? It wasn't just all about me talking. I'm always curious about, like, what do other Let's Players think about, like, how do they position or figure out what games they want to cover on their channel, because the chances of, you know, one game rising to the top are so minimal. Like, there's so many options. I could choose any particular game I want out of, well, not any game. There are a few that I can't, based on, you know, copyright issues or, you know, adult material or who knows what else. So not any game is possible, but, like, there's probably 100,000 games I could play if I really wanted to. And, you know, how do you make that distinction of what's the right one for you? You know, it probably has a little bit to do with, you know, personal passion, what maybe is kind of good at the moment, what people are excited to see, what people are hyped about, you know, all of those factors that go into what would you want to play at a moment? Like, what would make you pick this game over that game? You know, I've got this big old Steam library full of games, and what makes me decide one day I'm going to decide today's the day I play Far Cry 3 instead of BioShock Infinite or something? And honestly, I still haven't played either of those, but I do want to do that because I have them both now, and I want to play all the games, maybe someday. But, you know, there's so many options, that's all I'm getting at. How do we decide one versus the other? Have I just exhausted all of the map? Nope. Okay, there's still another couple of rooms anyway. Again, odds of me getting to 500,000 not so high. Probably not going to happen. Up we go, up we go, up we go. Oh, alright, I guess you're going to put a spike ball right in front of the door when I get out. Not a very considerate thing to do at all. Oh, we've got 2 giant flame jellies. What I should really do here is just maximize my chances of surviving this room by spamming all of the spike balls, and then just hack away and hope that that works out. It might, actually. Blobs, you are not really going to live. Alright, I think we're good. Oh, a couple more. Wow, still more. I thought I had gotten them all. They're just bouncing up and around everything. Did I get a chicken leg? I feel like I have more health now than I did a moment ago. And they just keep giving me more... Oh, again with that. Keep giving me more MP, which is great. It means that I'm not going to run out of magic. What was going on in here? Oh, I already killed that guy. Let's go left. Left and... Oh, this room I haven't actually done anything in, apparently. Or maybe I just ran past it or something. Alright, let's find a safe spot. If there is not a safe spot, this room's gonna kill me, isn't it? Okay, yeah, this is gonna be the end. Alright, well, that's fair. We made it 45 minutes. Sir Duke has been slain by a McRib. You know, they're a rare find. Sometimes they're on the value menu, sometimes they don't exist. McRibs. Wild dudes. So what did we end up with for our total on that? It was like 400 and something thousand. Let's just pick a dragon there, and we'll just see what the total ended up being. 468,558. That's pretty wild, guys. That's a lot of gold. So, I guess that will do it for another episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I posed about 100,000 million questions during this episode, so feel free to respond or not respond to any of those if you choose. And, of course, if you have been enjoying the Rogue Legacy series and, you know, might have stuck around since the beginning, or if you joined us somewhere in the middle, maybe went back and captured and went back to the beginning, or maybe just skipped through episodes, caught a couple occasionally, that's all good. Feel free to leave any support if you'd like, and the more that that is not even a way to make a sentence, is it? The better this episode does, the higher the chances of me continuing probably to go back to it in the future. And I don't mean to sound so cynical, and I know that is sort of like a harsh thing to say, but in this case, it's only just because I'm balancing a bunch of different games that I like a whole bunch. So I'm going to probably go where people are enjoying me, and if you want to hear me talk and ramble and be silly and all that stuff, it's probably the best to probably put your vote towards Rogue Legacy. If you want to do a little bit more concentrated, focused gameplay, maybe Spelunky, but I don't know. Honestly, viewership says probably Rogue Legacy would win out, but I don't know. We're going to see. So anyway, I do appreciate you guys being here, and I definitely appreciate you listening to me rant and rave for the last 45 minutes or so. And hopefully there was something in there worth listening to. I always hope that, honestly. But if there was, let me know. And hopefully we will revisit some more Rogue Legacy for episode 50 real soon. So I will see you then, and I hope you have a lovely evening. Take care, guys. Later.